Good morning. Today we delve into a topic that has captured global attention and concern, the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. This war is not just a regional issue, it has profound implications for the entire world. For over 3 years, the world has watched the Ukraine conflict unfold, its impact reaching far beyond its borders. The conflict has dominated international headlines, drawing attention to the struggles and resilience of the Ukrainian people. Millions have fled, creating one of the largest refugee crises in Europe since World War II. Families have been torn apart, and communities have been uprooted, seeking safety and stability in neighboring countries. This mass displacement has put immense pressure on European nations, testing their capacity to provide humanitarian aid and support. The war's economic shockwaves are felt globally. Rising prices at the gas pump and grocery store are just the start. The conflict has disrupted supply chains, leading to shortages and increased costs for essential goods. Consumers worldwide are feeling the pinch as inflation rises, affecting everyday life. Ukraine and Russia are key suppliers of grain and energy, so disruptions hit everyone. The interruption of grain exports has threatened food security in many regions, particularly in countries heavily reliant on these imports. Meanwhile, energy markets have been thrown into turmoil, with fluctuating oil and gas prices impacting economies globally. The conflict challenges the international order, threatening the principle that borders cannot be changed by force. This principle is a cornerstone of global peace and stability, and its violation sets a dangerous precedent. The international community is grappling with how to respond effectively to such aggression. This precedent could embolden other nations to act aggressively. If unchecked, it may encourage authoritarian regimes to pursue territorial ambitions, destabilizing regions and leading to further conflicts. That's why countries, including the US, support Ukraine, not just to defend a nation, but to uphold global rules. The support is a stand for democracy and the rule of law, reinforcing alliances and partnerships that have maintained peace for decades. Despite diplomatic efforts, peace remains elusive, and new proposals keep emerging. Negotiations are ongoing, with various stakeholders trying to broker a ceasefire and a lasting resolution. The complexity of the situation requires innovative solutions and unwavering commitment from the international community. One of the most discussed is a plan by former President Donald Trump, who claims he can end the war swiftly. His proposal has sparked debate, with supporters and critics weighing in on its feasibility and potential impact. Understanding this plan is crucial, as it could shape the future of the conflict and international relations. The outcome of this war will have lasting effects on global politics, security, and economic stability. As we continue to monitor developments, it is clear that the Ukraine war matters to us all, influencing the world we live in and the future we hope to build. Former President Donald Trump has boldly claimed that he possesses a unique and effective plan to swiftly bring an end to the ongoing Ukraine war. He asserts that his approach is not only feasible, but also incredibly fast. Trump is confident that under his leadership, the complex negotiations required to resolve this conflict could be completed within a mere 24 hours. He believes his experience in deal-making and his assertive style are key to achieving this rapid resolution. This approach marks a significant departure from the current strategies employed by the US and its allies, which have primarily focused on providing ongoing military aid and engaging in gradual, cautious diplomacy. Trump's plan is to cut through the red tape and get straight to the heart of the matter. His promise is centered around speed, decisiveness, and crafting a business-like deal that would effectively halt the war. Trump envisions a scenario where his direct intervention leads to a swift and conclusive agreement. Supporters of Trump argue that his plan is exactly what is needed, a direct approach that leverages American influence to force a breakthrough. They believe that his ability to negotiate tough deals is unparalleled and could be the key to peace. Trump has also raised questions about the scale and sustainability of US aid to Ukraine, suggesting that America should not be burdened with funding what he perceives as an endless conflict. He advocates for a more strategic use of resources. His America First stance resonates with those who are eager to see a reduction in foreign spending and a renewed focus on pressing domestic issues. This perspective has garnered significant support among his base. Central to Trump's plan is his unwavering belief in his own negotiating prowess. He is convinced that he can bring both sides to the table and compel them to make the tough compromises necessary for peace. His confidence in his ability to broker a deal is a cornerstone of his proposal. Central to Trump's plan is using U.S. military aid as leverage. Ukraine would be told, negotiate with Russia, or risk losing critical American support. Simultaneously, Russia would face a threat, refuse talks, and U.S. aid to Ukraine increases. This carrot-and-stick approach aims to pressure both sides into negotiations. The U.S. would shift from backing Ukraine unconditionally to acting as a forceful mediator. Supporters say this recognizes the stalemate and high costs, arguing only U.S. pressure can break the deadlock. Critics warn it risks abandoning Ukraine and could force unfair concessions. The plan's success depends on balancing pressure without undermining Ukraine's ability to defend itself. The most controversial part of Trump's plan involves territory. Reports suggest Ukraine would be pressured to cede land, like Crimea and parts of Donbas, in exchange for peace. This reflects the military reality. Neither side can achieve total victory. For Ukraine, it's a painful concession. For Russia, a win. The plan would likely include security guarantees for the rest of Ukraine, trading land for peace and protection. This approach directly challenges the principle of national sovereignty and is fiercely debated. Trump's proposal marks a sharp departure from previous peace efforts. Past plans, like the Normandy format, demanded full Russian withdrawal and prioritized Ukraine's territorial integrity. Trump's plan prioritizes speed and compromise, not strict adherence to international law. The U.S. would act as a tough mediator, pressuring both sides, not just Russia. Unlike multilateral efforts, Trump favors direct, leader-to-leader negotiations. This bypasses slow international consensus building in favor of personal deal-making. Critics say this transactional approach risks legitimizing aggression. Supporters argue it's the only way to end the war quickly. The plan's style and substance set it apart from all previous diplomatic efforts. In the U.S., Trump's plan has sparked fierce debate. Supporters, mostly Republicans, see it as a bold, pragmatic solution that puts America first and ends a costly war. They argue Europe should shoulder more responsibility and that cutting aid is a necessary tactic. Critics, including Democrats and some Republicans, call it a betrayal of Ukraine and a win for Russian aggression. They warn it sets a dangerous precedent, rewarding invasions and undermining U.S. credibility. The divide reflects deep disagreements over America's role in global security. Ukraine's response to the plan is outright rejection. President Zelensky insists sovereignty and borders are non-negotiable. Ceding land is seen as betrayal. Ukrainians fear being forced to negotiate under threat of losing U.S. support, weakening their position. They want a peace that restores all territory, not one that rewards aggression. Russia, meanwhile, is cautiously open to talks, if new borders are recognized. The plan's territorial concessions align with Moscow's goals, making it more appealing than other proposals. Still, Russia distrusts U.S. motives and would proceed warily. Moscow sees potential to fracture Western unity and legitimize its gains. Both sides remain deeply skeptical of a U.S.-brokered deal. Experts are expressing significant skepticism about Trump's proposed plan, raising a host of concerns about its practicality and long-term consequences. While some voices in the political arena argue that bold moves are needed to break the current deadlock, the overwhelming consensus among analysts is that the plan faces serious obstacles. Many observers doubt that Vladimir Putin is genuinely interested in achieving a lasting peace. Instead, there's a widespread belief that any agreement reached now could simply serve as a temporary pause, giving Russia valuable time to regroup, rearm, and prepare for future offensives. This suspicion is rooted in past patterns of Russian behavior and the Kremlin's strategic calculations. The notion of a quick and easy settlement overlooks the immense complexity of the conflict. Deep-rooted historical grievances, unresolved territorial disputes, and intricate technical details make any negotiation extremely challenging. Diplomats warn that skipping over these issues in the rush for a deal could create more problems than it solves. History has shown that rushed or superficial agreements often collapse, leading to renewed violence and suffering. The scars of previous failed peace efforts are still fresh, and the risk of repeating those mistakes looms large. Furthermore, the idea that withholding U.S. aid would force Ukraine to surrender territory underestimates the strength of Ukrainian national identity and the deep commitment to sovereignty. For many Ukrainians, the fight is about more than land. It's about their right to exist as a free and independent nation. On the other side, Russia has demonstrated a willingness to endure significant economic and human costs to pursue its objectives. Sanctions and international pressure have not deterred Putin in the past, so it's unclear whether new threats or incentives would change his calculus now. Critics also warn that the plan could set a dangerous precedent by undermining the fundamental principle that borders should not be changed by force. This principle is a cornerstone of international law, and weakening it could have far-reaching consequences beyond Ukraine. There are fears that if the U.S. appears willing to compromise on these values, it could embolden other aggressors around the world and damage America's credibility as a reliable ally. Allies and adversaries alike are watching closely to see how the U.S. handles this critical test. While a few argue that taking bold risks is necessary to achieve peace, the majority of experts caution that the potential dangers far outweigh any possible benefits. The stakes are incredibly high, and missteps could have lasting repercussions. In the end, the feasibility of Trump's plan remains highly contested, with deep divisions among policymakers, analysts, and the international community about whether it can truly deliver a stable and just resolution. The plan presents two stark futures. If implemented, fighting could end quickly, allowing Ukraine to rebuild, but at the cost of lost territory and national trauma. Ukraine would rely on new security guarantees, but internal divisions and resentment could linger. Russia would claim a strategic victory, and the world would see borders redrawn by force. If the plan fails or is rejected, the war grinds on, with continued suffering and no guarantee of victory. Western support could waver, and the risk of escalation remains. The choice is between a painful peace that compromises principles or a prolonged conflict defending them. The outcome will shape Ukraine's future and the global order for years to come.